Hello there, everyone, and welcome back to Feel Good with Emmy. My name is
All right. So
Idan,
first we have
and today I have our guest Steven, who's going to introduce himself in a second. And it's about a product that's called Bemer, which my friend has looked up and found and said, hey, Idan, maybe that's something that could be beneficial to your fibromyalgia symptoms, to your ME, to your energy, to your pain. So, Stephen, introduce yourself, please, to us, and then we'll go into how you met Beamer and how you work with it and how does it make you feel.
Yeah, sure. Thanks, Eden, for your time today to try and help people. That's what my job is all about, to educate people about what Bemer physical vascular therapy is all about, what it does, how it can help people on a day-to-day basis. So I'll just do a quick rewind of how I first got introduced and how I learned about the product. Because we are a direct sales company, you won't find Bemer uh, organically because there's no major advertising, there's no magazines, it's not put out through TV adverts, etc. It's all done through word of mouth from one person to another, normally from a passionate user of the product like myself, who's been using it for 9.5 years. I was introduced to it while living in Florida by a friend of mine in the States. She knew that I had knee surgery many years ago with cruciate ligament repairs. So she knew I was concerned about the future of my joints and knees in particular. So she introduced it to me back in 2016. I took a look at it and struggled to believe what they were telling me about what it did and what it does. And back then, we don't have the videos to back it up like we do now. We can actually physically see what the beam of session is doing to the microcirculation. So, long story short, I took a session with a gentleman in Florida. I didn't feel anything. It was only 8 minutes, but he assured me that by doing that on a consistent basis, the results will then eventually show. Now, I at that time didn't really have any problems, and thankfully now I still don't have any problems, but I'm using it as a prevention tool because I'm fit and healthy. But what I did understand is by improving the microcirculation, the tiny capillaries throughout our body, of which we've got approximately 70,000 miles, it is helping to make that blood flow better through that microcirculation. By doing that, it's improving the blood flow, cleansing most importantly, the inflammation, the toxins, the lactic acid out of our system. So therefore, our body simply functions better. By cleansing those toxins out of our body on a daily basis, you don't have the aches and pains in the muscle tissue and, of course, in the joints. So therefore, getting out of bed in the morning for many people can be a lot easier. They've got more energy, they've got better digestion, they generally start to feel better. And again, most importantly, less aches and pains throughout the body. So I started sharing this with people actually in Arizona back in 2017. And that from there, I've just continued to have a clinic now in East Yorkshire in the UK. But I do operate, in effect, all across the world because we can operate in all the countries that we are licensed.
Amazing. Just so we understand a little bit more, understand these things are sometimes a little bit hard to fully understand. So it uses electromagnetic pulsations to stimulate the mitochondria. Is that kind of how it works?
Yes, it's a pulsed electromagnetic field therapy. So it's known as the PEMF, pulsed electromagnetic field. So on the full body map, which people lay on, for example, or sit on, it has 16 coils. Now, they're not magnets, they're purely copper coils. But when the unit is turned on, they're emitting a pulsed electromagnetic field. That signal is then penetrating into the tissue to, in effect, stimulate the muscles and therefore through the tissue to stimulate the microcirculation, the tiny capillaries. By doing that, it is in simple terms helping the blood flow to flow better because we are creating what's called vasomotion. And the vasomotion is the tiny muscle membrane that is around each capillary, even though they're multiple times smaller than human hair. It has got a very tiny muscle membrane around it, and it's creating that pulsing sensation, which then assists the blood to flow better throughout those capillaries. Again, when you consider the average person's got 70,000 miles of that. That's a massive impact on the body.
Okay, so I guess people with circulation disease and issues that could be really interesting for them maybe if they have, I know people with diabetes, for example, I can think they have circulation problem. that's maybe even something that they would feel quite quickly or intensely. Is that something you experience with patients with this kind? I know we're both not medically qualified in any shape or form, but obviously you work with people, maybe you've seen. Uh,
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up because I do need to say that I've got no medical background. I don't claim to be a doctor or any medical knowledge, but I've been working with patients and clients for nearly, well, 9.5 years now, um, in my clinic in America and also now in the UK, and of course remotely at different events and so on. So, a quick example: fibromyalgia. Funny enough, that's obviously why we're talking. I've never had a fibromyalgia client that's not had a very, very positive result. To the point of one lady in Rugby in Warwickshire in the UK had one session for 8 minutes, and she commented and put a review on my page that the rest of that day she felt fantastic. She was able to walk around, she had energy, she didn't have aches and pains. She had a fantastic day. Now, everybody is different, and we can't obviously claim that that will happen for everybody or everyone. But by doing these sessions consistently and keeping that blood flow at an optimum level throughout the microcirculation, there's every chance you're giving your body the best chance to function at its best level. And I must also mention that it is key to stay well hydrated and drink plenty of water so that therefore you can help the body to flush out the toxins, because we're getting a lot of activity moving through the body, through the microcirculation, and therefore that needs to be flushed out. You can either pee, poop, or sweat it out. Now, for some people that might be quite toxic and constipated, backed up, they might suddenly, after a day or two of doing the sessions consistently, suddenly start to detox and go to the bathroom a lot, and therefore think, oh my God, it's making me sick. I'm pooping all the time. No, you are cleansing. And maybe after 2, 3, maybe worst case scenario, 4 days of doing that, they should feel wonderful because they've cleansed a lot of literally poop and crap out of their body. That is extreme, and very rarely does that happen. But it did happen to one of my clients in the States, and she said after the third day that she didn't want to mention anything, but then after it had all gone, she said she felt like she lost 10 pounds and she felt fantastic. So, again, everybody's different, everybody reacts differently, but the norm is most people, it takes time for them to sort of see a change and feel a change, normally within a week or two, if they're doing it consistently.
and is that something you would say does it can also people with mental health? Because anyone who goes through long-term ill health, often we can develop anxiety, depression, or kind of unease feelings, and because we're suffering for so many years. So do you know if Bemer can help mental state as well?
Well, again, if we're improving blood flow to the head, which of course we are by simply laying on the mat or sitting on the mat, because the coils come up to your chest. They don't go up to the head, they just come up to your chest. But by improving blood flow throughout your body, it will then obviously go to your head. And so therefore it can help with mental fog, migraines, headaches, etc., because we are assisting blood flow to the head. Again, everybody's different, but I've had many people comment that they felt more uplifted, they felt happier, mental clarity, anxiety. One lady in particular, fibromyalgia client, within 10 weeks it was, she came off morphine, which she'd been on for 13 years, and antidepressants, again for 13 years, by slowly using the Bemer twice a day over that 10-week period. Now, that is one of the most amazing reviews I've ever had. To get that result in a short period of time, 10 weeks, they've now had their Bemer for pushing just over 2 years, and only about 4 months ago I spoke to them, and still everything's wonderful for her. She's on no medication at all now. So yes, if we're improving blood flow, we're improving blood flow to the head. Something else we can't obviously claim to do anything, but if we're doing that, we're giving better blood flow to the head, then there's every chance that we could be assisting to reduce the potential of Alzheimer's and dementia. Not saying it will, but again, we're putting blood flow to the head, everything functions better. We're cleansing toxins and waste, increasing oxygenation at a cellular level, which again is key to better stamina, better energy, etc.
Great. And how did Beamer came about? Who developed it? And that's very interesting. How did someone come with such a device?
Bemer stands for, it's a family owned business for about 27 years now. German family. Peter Gleim and his family started the business 27 years ago. He's now stepped back, and it's his two daughters that are actually running the company. 77 now, I believe. Yeah, that's right. He started it at 50. Based in Liechtenstein. The company's based in Liechtenstein, but it's a German medical device that's manufactured and developed in Germany and Switzerland, shipped to clients' doors from Liechtenstein. Peter Gleim came across the product and eventually bought the patent from I believe his name was Dr. Kafka back in 1998. From there, he took the product, worked with the product, shared it with the people, started to see results, then started to pour money into research and development to bring it to the present product that we have today, which is in effect the third generation of the original product that he got back in that many years ago. And Bemer stands for Bioelectromagnetic Energy Regulation. That's what it stands for. That's what it is. Obviously, a electromagnetic regulated signal that is stimulating the circulation. That's why they call the company Bemer. And it is in approximately 30 countries across the world. And we have independent business partners like myself that can assist clients with sessions, and then of course with training and with the product in their own home, in a gym, in a business, wherever it may be.
Are there people who should not be using it, or it may not be so useful for them, or?
Yes, there are contraindications, which as a business partner myself, I have to go through training, although it's not as a medically knowledgeable. We are given some form of little bit of medical knowledge, but more so training on the product, what it does, what we can do, what we can't do, and what we can say and what we can't say. So there are contraindications. So if anybody's got an electrical implant, whether it be a pacemaker, a diabetes pump, or anything electrical that's installed on their body or in their body, then they should not use it. If they are presently going through cancer, chemo, and doing radiotherapy, that type of thing, they're taking a hard, heavy autoimmune suppressant drug, then again, they should not use it at that time. But I must mention that we have many cancer patients that use it in between therapy. So if they're going for therapy, say for a week, and then they have 3 weeks off, and then a week and 3 weeks off, then through consultation with their specialist doctor, they can obviously use the product in between those periods. So it's probably 97, 98% of the population can use it, even children, if it's administered by an adult under the age of 14, could be used on children also, because again, we all need optimal blood flow. And if we've got challenges even as a youngster, then this can assist that to function better. Even to the point, one of my clients had a young teenage daughter who was going through the menstrual cycle for that time of the month, and she was having problems and pains. So she put the B pad, which is like a belt, across her tummy, and that helped the symptoms to alleviate in her case.
That's great. And we hear a lot about electromagnetic fields and dirty electromagnetic fields from phones, from lights, from computers, from Wi-Fi. I guess, how is it different to this electromagnetic, and can you help us cope with all the electromagnetic radiations that is around us?
Yeah, the mobile phone is obviously got way more signal than the Beamer. The Beamer is basically like the magnetic the Earth magnetic core of the Earth. It's a very low level signal used on hertz between, I believe it's 10 and 150 hertz. So, and it's a pulsing signal. So on the range of those types of things, it is extremely low and obviously very safe. It's been stay around for 27 years with no issues that we know of. But as long as you use caution and reference the contraindications, I've never seen any concerns.
If someone wanted to try it out, how can they, let's say they are in the UK or Germany or the US or Australia, how can they do? They have to buy a device, or they have to go to a therapist? What kind of options do people have to try to see if it's work for them and if it's suitable? And also, is it something that you do 10 times, 50 times, or it's something that you can do for many, many years?
Yeah, well, the basic plan is if you're going to a clinic, obviously for a session as an introduction, you could come to mine in East Yorkshire. at Bridlington, and then we would give you a session and let you experience it. It's very simple. You don't have to take any clothes off. You sit back in a relaxing chair and just kick your legs out and lay back and relax. You may feel a tingle, a pulse, a tickle, or a warmth throughout your body. Some people feel absolutely nothing, but it is working. Then we would encourage you to come back on a daily basis, because the basic plan, when a client gets one at home or in the business, the basic plan is to do at least one 8-minute session in the morning when you first get up, and then another 8-minute session in the evening, around say between 5 and 7 p.m. Because one 8-minute session in the morning, for example, will give you approximately 10 to 12 hours of benefit just from that 1 8 minutes. So if you're doing the session in the morning and you're doing the session in the early evening, in effect, you're improving the blood flow throughout that microcirculation for the full 24-hour period. Now, depending on each individual, they may feel the benefit in one day, they may feel it in 3 days, they may feel it in 3 weeks. Everybody's different. But if you're following the basic plan, which is difficult when you come into a clinic, unless you live local, but if you do, then you will start to see and feel the benefits of that, with better sleep, better digestion, more energy, etc. But I must mention that people that come, say, 3 times a week to the clinic can see results quickly, as I mentioned earlier with the lady at that event we did in Rugby several years ago. Just one session, she felt, amazing for that day. But the basic plan is twice a day. So if somebody purchases one for home, we will educate them in person or over the phone, through Zoom, through WhatsApp, etc., on how to use the product at their home, depending on what their needs are. So we would design a program to suit whatever the needs are of the individual. And they can be purchased outright, or depending on what country you're in, UK, for example, or Europe, we can do what we call an 8-week test. So a client could pay £899, let's refer to the UK, £899 for 8 weeks, and they can then get the unit delivered to their door by DHL, and the 8-week period starts the moment it arrives at your door. In that kit, you will get one full body mat to lay down on your relaxing chair or sofa, one full body mat for the bed, which would go under your bed sheets and can be used while you lay on the bed, one what we call a B-pad that would go around your back, around your shoulders, around your knees, around your feet, wherever you can put it on a local area. Another small device called the B-spot, which is a small device which is about the size of your hand and could be put on a sprained ankle, a wrist, a knee, shoulder, or even obviously on around the mouth or the head for dental work. So you get 4 devices plus a control box, a chargeable battery, and obviously a power supply for the £899 for the 8-week period. We then educate you and train you how to use it. We keep in touch with you on a weekly basis and more if needed. And then at the 8-week period or sooner, you can say, this is great, we want to keep it and pay the balance. And the £800 will come off the price of the product. Or at the end of the 8 weeks, you say, sorry, it's not worked for me. We followed the plan. We send it back, cost you no extra charge. And unfortunately, they throw it away because it's a Class 2A medical device and therefore it has to be disposed of.
That's great. Yeah, very easy ways to get into it. A little bit towards the end, I'm thinking for people who are very skeptical and scientific, has it been studied in an independent way or anything like that? Or is it something more that we know it works because people tell us that it just really helped them? I read online that a lot of people said with the backache, they really felt an improvement. So there's a lot of testimonials also for people with energy level. They said they had a lot of fatigue, and when they use it, their fatigue seems to be reduced and sometimes even go away. So it's great to read these things. It's very encouraging. If someone wants a little bit more scientific, have there been any studies on that? I know it's expensive to do studies, and
Yeah, no, there has been studies done over certainly the last 15 years and even more so over the last 15 years. And that's one of the reasons that Bemer chose 8 weeks, because they find that between 6 and 8 weeks is when people seem to get the majority of people, because obviously some people have long-term symptoms and issues, disease of maybe 10 plus years. Now coming to Bemer and expecting that to get fixed in 2 to 3 weeks is probably not realistic. So the 6 to 8 week period is where we've found that most people, even with long-term symptoms, can achieve considerable benefits. Because again, someone with those long-term symptoms might take 6 months before they see major breakthrough. But at 8 weeks, they might be feeling something, and therefore they realise it is actually working. Most people with the average symptoms of bad back, aching, as I've said, even fibro, get results within 2 to 4 weeks. But yes, there are studies done that have been done. They're out on their pubmed.gov, and you can find them. Just type in or go to Google and do Bemer and fibromyalgia, Bemer and backache, that type of thing, and certain things will pop up. Be aware some good stuff will pop up, and of course some bad stuff will pop up, because that's the way it works on the internet. But there are a lot of studies that have been done. I've actually got many reviews from clients that have been happy to write reviews to me, which I can share personally one-on-one with people. If they're interested to obviously have that conversation with me, I'm more than happy to do so. And yeah, we're just here to educate people, introduce it to them, and then encourage them to try it. The biggest challenge is get on a Bemer. There's not enough clinics, gyms that have them. And my job as a business partner is to educate the people and say, listen, let's try and get you on a Bemer. Let you feel the experience. Maybe it'll work for you pretty quick, maybe it won't. But once you understand the technology and the science behind it all, it might make sense to you and you just go forward. Because if you put your faith in it, then and you do it, 9 times out of 10 it works. The other thing I must mention is obviously you've got a 30-day money back guarantee if you do a purchase outright. But of course, if you do the 8 week test, you've got 8 weeks before you even decide. So that is a no-brainer, because you really are getting a really good quality amount of time to test it. And again, this is not just for one person. This can be for all the family members. And even what people do is neighbours and good friends come round for a cup of tea and a chat. They have a session and then they go home. And that happened to me just recently with a lady who had neuropathy. She bought one over 2 years ago, and this helped solve her, or not solve, but has given her such more mobility in her legs, in her right foot in particular, that she's now walking 5 miles a day. And before, she was struggling that leg was being dragged behind her. Sounds dramatic, but it's real. Anyway, long story short, she had a friend that was coming around with hip problems and back problems. She's been doing that now for a year, only once a day, and she was feeling a dramatic difference in her hips. When she went to work, she could cope for the day, but by the end of the day, she was struggling. She has just recently bought a Bemer, just literally 2 weeks ago. So she's now doing 2 sessions a day on her own Bemer, and she's already commented to me that she's starting to feel a difference in that 2 week period. As we say, the proof is in the pudding, but once you see the video and you understand what it's doing, it is quite amazing what it does do. And that's why the company has so much confidence in the product.
Okay. And what about people with multiple sclerosis? Do you know anyone who used it for that, and if they had any success with that?
Yeah, again, you see, Bemer is, unfortunately, we have many people come to us because they've got a problem, and that's natural. That's just the way we are. People don't want to put money into preventative therapies. They'd rather wait, and unfortunately, it's just the way of the world, the NHS in the UK. We all know that. So Bemer, I must clearly state that Bemer's not here to fix anything. It's purely here to help improve your microcirculation. Once you improve that microcirculation on a daily basis, you will normally see some big benefits and therefore changes in your body, your feeling, your movement, everything. So can it fix fibromyalgia? Can it help fibromyalgia? Yes, it possibly can. It has been shown to help fibromyalgia. Sorry, multiple sclerosis. And it's been shown to help many things. I've got 2 stories personally of multiple sclerosis from clients with reviews. Have they still got it? Yes. Are their symptoms better? Yes, they're less. So therefore, they can function better. So what's others from Parkinson's? Same thing. Their symptoms are less. So therefore, their daily habits, the way they go around about their day, they've got better mobility, better stability, better energy, better attitude, etc. But again, I cannot stress enough that everybody is different. One MS sufferer might get great results in 2 months. One might take 6 months. One might not get any results at all or benefits at all. So everybody is different. But again, we're not here to fix anything. We're here to simply improve microcirculation, which is what it's doing. And whether people feel it or not, it's actually working. You just have to put your faith into it and just do it twice a day. Just like brushing your teeth, you want to keep them clean. It's a similar process. It's a preventative process.
Amazing. Stephen Boston, thank you so much. I would leave Stephen details below. If you have experience with Bemer therapy, please leave a comment so we know and we learn as well. All of these testimonies and experiences means a lot and very valuable for us today. Living life, community, trying to understand things and what can help. Stephen, thank you so much. Is the last thing message you want to say, or you said it all? You tell me.
Well, actually, I just want to throw in there that, again, what I just touched on earlier, people, obviously, unfortunately, it's just the way of the world. We're trying to always fix something. We have many professional athletes, Olympic athletes, and professional sports people that use Bemer as a preventative tool. So they are working their body to an extreme level through training, through competition, and then trying to recover. So they're using this product to sleep on, because we have got a sleep program which you can progress to after 7 weeks. So you can actually easily just turn it on when you go to bed and it's working for you when you're sleeping. But again, we have to slowly introduce that. But the professional athletes are using this because they want to get rid of that lactic acid that they've built up through their competition, through their training, through their sports activity. And the next day, they don't want that out of their body. So they're not as tight, they're still flexible, and they can go and train or compete at the highest level. So this is what it does for everybody. But of course, for an athlete, that is key to be able to recover and be the best at what they can be. To the point, we don't have any testimonials to the effect of, but we know for a fact that Roger Federer, Rafa Nadal, and many other high-level athletes have used this product in the past and maybe still using it now. I don't know, because they've not signed agreements with us, but we know they have used it in the past. So, yeah, it's not to fix, it's to prevent and to enhance longevity of life, and most importantly, quality of life.
Very interesting. I will research more, and thank you for coming on the show. It really helps to see the face behind people who work with Bemer. So as I said, for anyone interested, Stephen details will be in the description. You can contact him and find out more. Thank you very much, Stephen.
Thanks for your time.